Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. God bless you today. I hope you are doing well and that this video meets you well. Now, before I delve into the video, I want to ask for you, as you are putting your opinion down in the comment section in this video, I want you to indicate, please, if you don't mind, your sex, whether you're a female or a male, because this has to do with tragedy. And when this kind of a thing happens, there's usually a divided opinion. You see, now that it is a man that has suffered this, just be patient with me, you would know where I stand on this. But I am just being human and we are all humans. So I'm just being human. Now that a man has suffered this, there will be some form of bias from women. Now, but if a woman is the one that suffered this kind of a thing that led to the terrible consequence, at the end of the day, now there is always a different approach, like the story I heard of a man that went to the police station to report that he was, sexually abused by 3 women. You are welcome to the End Time Truth Television, the channel for the lovers of truth, for the truth of the end time. So if you are a lover of truth, give us a subscription and God bless you. Shalom. They pinned him down and used equipment, you know what I mean, to threaten him. And you know that the male organ does not have sense, even though that the man doesn't want to do it, yet the organ was senseless. It gave the women what they wanted, 3 of them. So at the end of the day, he went to the police station to report the incident. And what did you hear? The policeman that got the statement that he met threw down the pen and laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed and said, "I beg, where is the address of these women? Me too, I want to be raped." Now, so that is it. But if it was a woman that went to report that incident, all hell will be let loose. Now, it is bad. Man doing that to a woman is terrible. And sometimes it's like, let death sentence be the penalty, and women also doing that to men should also receive equal measure in criticism and in dealing. Now, today we are looking at a pastor from my state that took his life because his so-called lover jilted him. Now, this thing has been there for ages. It has been happening. I do not know. People keep falling into this trap, and the ladies keep doing this. Men also are doing it. We have also seen men who were brought from the gutters. They use the language and, Tishana, the teacher poured the person became very good and polished. And once life becomes good, he will jilt the same woman that did everything for him to be human and go after other ladies. Now, so a man identified as Prosper Obum Igboke, a pastor of Pentecostal church, has committed suicide in Nnewi, Anambra State. Now, sources said the man jumped down from a 2-story building where he died instantly after he was allegedly jilted by his lover. A relative of the deceased who spoke to reporters said the man had trained his lover in the university, after which she declined his marriage proposal. The incident happened last month. The man was 30 years old at the time of his death. His girlfriend, whom he intended to marry, disappointed him after seeing her through the university. He jumped down from a 2-story building and died. I'm surprised that a man of this age and a pastor can do this, the source said, according to the tradition of Lenu Autonomous Community of Nnewi local government area in Abia State. The man will be buried in a forest for committing sacrilege. The man was eventually buried on Friday in a bush in his community, the source added. Now, I didn't just see this story today. It's been long I've seen it. At least it's more than maybe 3 or 4 days I've seen it. But I chose not to pay attention to it because the source from which I saw it first time was not a source I could trust. But now it is, gaining attention. It gained ground because all other news media in the country started reporting it. As a matter of fact, this is the Nigerian Tribune, one of the most oldest print media in Nigeria. So there are so many others, several others like Premium Times, Linda Ikeji's blog, and so many of them. that eventually reported it. So I am taking it to be true, even though that unfortunately the name of the church was not cited, and the name of the lady was not given. This was a reportage from a relative of the pastor. The picture is there, and if the picture is there and the name is given, I think if it is not true, some persons would have come out to debunk that. But be that as it may, whether this happened or not, I believe this happened. But I want you to understand that these things are real. You see, I have a very darling sister who has gone through a lot in life, and at times what she thought would be the best for her was to take her life. Now, but several times she would ask me, and I would say, no, that will take you to hell. Now, I know you may be here and you also don't believe in hell, that there is no hell. That may be your belief. I am not here to banter words with you. But this pastor, when the person who reported this case was closing his reportage, he was like, I wonder how a man of his age and a pastor at that matter could do this. Now, I know that persons are driven to a point where they think that the last thing open to them was for them to take their lives. If you have not been there, some of us have been there, but someone like me, why I don't even consider it, I never considered it in those days, was because early enough I knew that I was not going to take my life. Early enough I knew that if I took my life, I was going to go to hell. Early enough I knew, and I loved my mother, and I was like, if I should take my life, what would my mother do? Right, even before I got married. So for a pastor if he's a pastor, definitely he's preaching the gospel. Maybe he's one of those that believes that no, you cannot go to hell for killing yourself, because eventually that my sister met some persons that the devil used to almost deceive her, made her believe no, that God is not that wicked, that God cannot send you to hell because you killed yourself. And she contacted me and was like, oh, you've been telling me lies all these days. No, I have not. But eventually, to God be the glory, my beloved sister is alive today. She hasn't been pushed to that point where the liars with the scriptures, with the Bible that they twist, almost convinced her that that was not a problem. So he might be one of those that also believe that you can kill yourself and go and rest. Now, the Bible said you must not take a life. Anybody that takes a life is liable to be sentenced as a murderer. And as a matter of fact, you didn't create a life. So the life you didn't create, you don't have the right to take it. Now, if the government of nations would get someone that is suicidal, and even though that they try to help the person, but there is a penalty for trying to commit suicide. Now, if the government of humans can be that sensitive to life, that we know in some countries, in some nations, life is not that valued anymore, but then that is still there, that when the person is gotten, is not just allowed to go home free like that. Now, how then do we think that eternity would have just changed because one pastor came out and told you that God is not? There is this defense we try to put forth, for God, and all in the name of new revelation. This wicked revelation that we are shunning out every day, that God is not wicked, God cannot kill. God, who told you that? I heard Abel Damina the other day saying that God does not kill. You are a liar, my friend, if you believe that God doesn't kill. God kills and God makes alive. And Jesus said, he said, do not fear the man that can kill your body and then has nothing to do with your soul. He said, don't be afraid of that person. He said, but let me give you an advice of the one that can kill both the body and cast the soul into hell. Now, that person is not the devil. That person is not any other person, because the devil himself will be thrown into hell. As a matter of fact, it's not the devil that even casts people into hell. All right. So the God of heaven still kills. So he has the power to kill and to make alive. And he is the ultimate Lord that has the power to kill the flesh and to cast the soul into hell. So Jesus said, I suggest to you, fear this person. Now, what I want to ask is this. Women, tell us, because we have not seen, this has not actually traveled far. We've not seen, women coming out or people creating content out of this to have, to speak forth for this guy that has been violated. I'm not trying to be chauvinistic. I'm just trying to get your opinion. What do you think? Did the man, did the woman do well? Was the man right in taking his life? He was not right, no matter what the problem was. You don't have to take your life. For all the beautiful ladies around, I know how it feels. I know how painful it would be that this man probably was getting, what was suffering himself, denying himself things for the woman he loved, and hoping that immediately after she comes out from the school, they'll get married. And he invested everything, lavished everything, spent all on her, only for her to come out and dashed that hope. You see, that's why you don't need to give up hope. When you give up hope, you don't see the reason to continue living. When you give up hope, life means nothing to you. But if you hold on to hope and trust in God, my dear, now you will have every reason to live. There are so many other ladies out there, and God could have given him a better person, better in education, better in beauty, better in character, better in all round. And I suppose that even as a pastor, he should have known that that wasn't even the will of God for the both of them to get married in the first place. But even if it was the will of God and this happened this way, you ought to have trusted God for a better thing, a better tomorrow, a better future. So whenever the devil prompts your heart to take your own life, please, my dear, don't. The devil is a lie. Trust Jesus, no matter how dark it is. At the end of the tunnel, there is always going to be light. No matter how long the night seems, there is always going to be a dawn in the morning. The sun will rise in the morning. When the sun will rise, no power stops the rising of the sun. That is what the devil has never been able to do. One of the things he has never been able to do. So at the dawning of the day, the sun definitely. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. God bless you. I'll be seeing you in the next video. Then from me to you. Shalom.